Hey everyone, this is Mike and Edie Wilkinson down here at Tackle Shack. It is episode 5 of the Winner's Circle already. A unique deal. Edie actually won a kayak tournament. So we're going to get into that a little bit. And another thing that we're excited about is that Edie is an awesome customer here at Tackle Shack. I mean, we see her all the time. She's helped us out with a lot of stuff. And so we're just happy to see her be successful. But so everybody understands, including myself, I want to talk to her a little bit about how the tournament works, what group it was that she was fishing with, and what that means for her going forward this season.
Well, kayak tournaments, in-person ones, they're a lot of fun. Then there's a lines in time. It's all by measurement. You have to have, a certified measuring board in order for it to count. The tournament I fished was with IKA. It's Hoosier Kayak Bassing, Indiana Kayak Anglers, and they have a KBF ambassador program.
Okay. What is KBF?
KBF is kayak bass fishing.
Okay.
It's probably the most popular online tournament platform for
awesome.
kayak fishing. And they have a pro trail with bass. They have a trail series. They have a lot of programs available. But the ambassador program is sort of new, I believe, and IKA is one of 6 in the state of Indiana. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
What that means is if you win, you get an extra bonus check from KBF. You get some really cool hardware from Catch USA products. And if you're in the top 10% for the season, or if you win an event, it will qualify you for the National KBF Championship event.
And you accomplished that.
I accomplished that. That was my goal for the season,
Nice.
so I am really stoked on that.
Yeah.
But,
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it happened pretty quick. I mean, really, how many of those tournaments have you had already this season?
This was my 3rd in-person event, I believe. Yeah, so it's sort of new to me still.
I mean, not from an actual accomplishment standpoint of like, what does this mean as far as where are you going, but what does it mean to you, I guess, mentally, to be new to kayak fishing, really, pretty new, relatively new to tournament fishing in general, and then to pull off a win that's, a big win. It's not like it was 3 people at a pond. It's a big win, like a really big tournament. Yeah, what does it mean for you?
I can't even put into words, really, what that meant to me. It was huge. It was a long time coming for me, I felt.
Yeah.
I've won team tournaments with my partner. We've had good seasons and stuff, but to go out on my own and do it in an individual event on a new body of water against 43 amazing anglers was the confidence boost.
That's
and
awesome. 43 anglers. 43
nice. Anglers, yeah.
Yep.
It was, I wanted to sleep with a big cardboard check.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think what you'll see is that, something, it's kind of like, it's like dominoes, right? Like you get one to fall in the right direction, and then it just kind of feels like the momentum starts rolling. You're like, I can do this. Like,
it's making me hungry for it.
Absolutely,
you
taste a little bit.
The first one, I literally sat in my truck for half an hour, scared to put the kayak in because I'm still not the best at that and all, and now I just want it.
Yep,
so.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're a big dog now. You can't be scared anymore. But no, that's awesome. I totally get from a mental standpoint, like how big a win is. It definitely kind of just kicks you into shape. Like, I belong here. Like, this is,
Well, at the first event, my goal was to place in the top 10, and I surprised myself when I did, which, I placed in 7th.
Nice.
And so I had a little bit of confidence going into it, but definitely a huge deal for me.
Yeah, and you won by like a decent margin too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like I saw that. It wasn't like it was an inch.
Yeah, but when the standings shut off, they shut the standings off like an hour before tournament ends, usually. I had 78.5 inches, and I believe 2nd place was at like 69, I think, something like that.
How did that feel?
Anything, that got me pumped.
Yeah, no doubt.
That got me pumped, and I was like, okay,
like, one more.
But we had an hour left, and I made 2 more calls in that hour, and said a lot of prayers on the way back to the ramp.
That's
but
awesome.
I had ended up with 80.5, and 2nd place was 76 1/4.
I guess that brings us more to the actual day itself. So the event was on Lake James in Angola,
Yes.
which is a traditionally very tough fishery. I've fished it a lot in my life. There are some big fish in there, but it is tough. It's hard to catch a 5-fish limit of 14+ inch fish. And usually it only takes 8-9 pounds to win tournaments there. So you had a really good bag. Like I was thinking about, I mean, you had over a 16-inch average, and that's really solid. Really, really solid for that place. So without having any experience there, what did it look like? I guess like leading up to the tournament, what did your preparation look like? And then on the day of the tournament, what were the key decisions and the baits that actually kind of got it done for you?
Well, it's the Lake James chain, so it's a bunch of lakes that you can fish. My plan was shallow.
Yep.
From the get-go, that was what I prepped for, what I tied for, everything was for a shallow bite.
So you said that you got into a remote area. What was it like getting to a remote area? Because most of Lake James the Lake James chain is very clear and pristine, and there's big houses and crystal clear water. So, was it a long way from your launch site?
It was.
Okay.
It was a couple miles from my launch site. I put in quite a trek. I was invested in this.
Yep.
I went through the creek channel and from Big Otter into Snow and went all the way to the far end of Snow. There's a creek that goes off there as well. And I decided to make the trek. And
that is a long way.
Yeah, it was a long trek, but my kayak does very well.
Nice. How fast can you go in your kayak?
I have gotten it up to 10 kilometers per hour.
Oh my goodness. Time-wise, how long did it take you, or what time did you put in the morning?
I put in at 6, and I had some issues with my trolling motor to start with, so it took me a little bit to get that.
Okay.
And I was getting nervous, and it took close to an hour.
Okay.
Gotcha. To get there.
And then we had
in the morning with
storms.
all that issues.
Yep.
And then we had storms.
Yep.
And I waited that out.
Yep.
And then on the way back, after a long day, the way back is always tougher than there. But
no doubt.
Yeah, it was not too bad at all.
Good. Yep. Well, hey, you found a magical place in a lake that's often tough, and it got it done. I mean, you really kind of beat up on the field a little bit, so that's awesome. So I guess now let's go into the baits that you used. What were the setups that were important for you? You said you targeted shallow water around bluegill beds and whatnot. That's classic this time of year. So if you're watching, you can probably take a few notes from this, because I will tell you that even right now, the next week or two, I mean, that's really the deal. Yep. That is often the deal to catch tournament winning bags. So go into a few of the baits and kind of talk about how they helped you.
What started the day off was the Mischief Minnow from Freedom Tackle.
Okay.
That is my favorite go-to topwater bait. Before the storm hit, that is what I caught. I caught my first keeper on it, and then a decent one. I think it was close to 17 inches.
Nice. So that one stayed in the bag.
Yep. So up until the storm hit, the topwater bite seemed to shut off after that, and the rest of it was a jig bite.
Yep.
I mean,
Nice.
all day.
And you love throwing a jig.
I love throwing a jig.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it was down my alley.
Good
for
deal.
Sure.
Yeah. And then you used Halo rods. Is that?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So that's a new company to Tackle Shack. Edie helped to get those in here, and so we've got the Halo rods in there. Awesome. I was actually just checking out her jig setup. That's a really nice rod. It's 7 foot, medium heavy, and it's extremely light. So pretty impressed by that.
And it's got the fast action, which I like for the jig.
Yeah.
Just because it's a more subtle movement a little bit than what.
Gotcha. And now with the jig, were you basically just fishing that shallow water and kind of fishing it really slow on the bottom, or what was your?
For the most part, it was bouncing it off the bottom, and every once in a while, putting a little action in it. But for the most part, it was just just bouncing it along the bottom.
Good deal.
And it's a jig I tied myself. It's just a flipping jig, 3/8 ounce, with a pocket chunk. So
simple as it gets. But if you look, I mean, it looks like a bluegill. That's the first thing. It's more of a bluegill imitator than it is a crawfish imitator for me, and I think that's the key.
Absolutely.
And it's cool just to see, you haven't been tournament fishing that long, but obviously you've got confidence in the jig, and that's a great bait to get confidence in. So many people start off with their confidence in a Ned rig or something, which is good. It's just a lot of times you might struggle to get the quality bites that, what you get, but the jig is right at the top. Yep.
And it's so
100%.
versatile that
Yep.
if you're gonna have a confidence, lure,
Yep.
that's
And basically from ice off until ice on. Like all year long, there's never a day where you're like, I can't catch one on a jig today.
Yeah.
I mean, you
that's
you
my
catch
favorite
them.
part
Yeah.
about it.
Yep.
is You make it look like whatever.
There's
you
not
need
much
to make it
thinking
look
involved.
Like
You're like, oh,
yeah.
jig time. And get it out and start
Yeah.
throwing. Yeah, awesome. So this has obviously been a huge deal for you. You said you had a podcast yesterday. You were
Yes.
on it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's,
with IKEA actually.
Okay,
So
nice.
we're Hoosier.
So unfortunately, guys, as you saw, that is the end of the footage that survived my iPhone update. Kind of the downside of doing things on the scale that we do them sometimes, but there's a lot of good information that can still be found. One thing I did want to mention is that we are extremely proud of Edie. It's really an accomplishment what she did. I mean, there's not too many 50-plus boat tournaments in this area, and the kayak tournament that she won would have been equivalent to that. So, I mean, awesome work by her. We're proud of her. One thing I did want to mention as well is that if you want to support Edie in her goals of accomplishing more in the fishing industry, one of the best ways you can do it is to support the companies that support her. So American Bait Works is a main supporter of Edie. That would include Halo, NetBait, the new bait fuel that we have here. All those things are really important to us and really important to her, and she's helped us to get these in here. So stop by sometime this week. I'm going to get this video out. It's going to be Thursday, so you've got today and tomorrow. Stop by, check out a new Halo rod. We'd be happy to talk with you, and thanks for watching. Fish on.